Okay, so I'm going to be doing some stuff with artificial intelligence with you guys. Utilizing, I think it's a fantastic tool that can help us speed up and simplify things that I used to do with pivot tables and things like that in Microsoft Excel. It took a lot of time, and now it does a lot of that stuff for me. This is really going to be geared toward people that are analytical. I am giant into analytics. I taught mathematics for over 30 years. You know, I like teaching calculus, but I love teaching statistics because it had a lot more application than a lot of the math classes that we take, right? In school, sometimes we're wondering what the heck we're doing. But stats can be applied to a lot of stuff, and I'm going to show you how we can use that to help make you guys better wrestlers, okay? And even if you're not good at Excel, the nice thing now, AI can do it for you, so you don't have to be real good at Excel anymore, okay? All right, so the first part is going to be using artificial intelligence in conjunction with self-evaluations, okay? And the second part is going to be on journaling. I'm gigantic into journaling, okay, for peak performance. I notice a lot of you are journaling and taking notes, okay? I'm talking about journaling to gather data throughout the season so that you can perform your best with our periodization planning and peaking at the right time, okay? All right, so, you know, I've been blessed through this coaching experience, you know, building a relationship with Mike and Kevin Jackson, you know, is one of my mentors. I'm not sure if you youngsters know him, but I know all the old guys in here do. You know, so I've been able to do all of these different things, okay? And without the USA Wrestling Coaches Education Program, I can do. So if any of you guys aspire to be a coach, I would highly encourage you to get involved in the Coaches Education Program when you're older, because you too can do these things, okay? I want to talk a little bit about the coaching awards, but you got to understand, like, when we get coaching awards, it's not an award for me, it's an award for the whole program, you know, and all the way down to the parents and the stat girls that do stuff for us. You know, I had a phenomenal bus driver when I was a Scholastic coach, so it's a whole team effort. So I got tons of those things, but I am proud of one of them. Super, super proud of my boys staff got National Staff of the Year one year. So super, super proud of that. You know, because that was for those guys, not necessarily for myself. All right. I'm gigantic into the coach's education. Not just these that I've done, you know, USA Wrestling ones, but National Federation of High School Sports has tons of stuff too, if you get into coaching later. I would highly encourage you to do those as well. All right, got a little video here. Want to show you on evaluations.
I had a conversation with Coach Saban back in July, August, and he said the number one skill that he sees of elite players mentally is the ability to self-assess. When we have too much pride, we're ignorant, we don't want to listen, we don't want to evaluate, we're trying to project ourselves, we lose our ability for self-assessment. Self-assessment is our ability to look at ourselves and ask ourselves, what are we doing well, what are we struggling with, and what can I do to improve? I had a conversation with...
All right, so first objective, we're going to develop the ability to use artificial intelligence to analyze self-evaluation data and create a targeted improvement plan. We use AI to uncover patterns in our self-evaluation. For instance, low flexibility and poor sleep can be slower recovery or injury risk. Helps us prioritize where improvement will have the greatest impact on our performance. And we're going to turn honest self-evaluation into action by letting AI highlight your personal strengths and expose overlooked gaps. And then we're going to generate a customized improvement plan based on data, not guessing. Okay? All right, so we all know how that works, right? All the kids get their phones out, okay? This is the first time I've ever used this. You know, I'm all about risk taking. You know, this may blow up right now, but I want to show you to take chances. I'm taking a chance with my presentation right now, right?
Wait, like strength as in like...
Yep. However you interpret that. We'll talk about that after we get our answers here. Okay? I'll show you what you're going to see when the numbers take look. All right, everybody got enough ready that's doing this? Because I'm going to move on. You're not going to have the QR code in a little bit. One more.
I'm the strongest person.
Coach Green, would you help him out?
Yeah, he's good now.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go into this self-evaluation here. I need to click on this to take us to our other external website. And I'll have to drag this over here for us. So, sorry, I need my old man glasses here real quick. All right, so this is what you guys put, okay? Now, I didn't give you any metrics to measure strength by, right? So everybody might have a different thing. Am I measuring strength compared with everybody in this room? Am I measuring strength versus guys in my weight class? Okay, versus the whole population. So everybody may have a different interpretation. Whatever metric you choose to use, you need to remain consistent then when you evaluate it the next time to see if we're having growth. You know, I personally, you could be different, we're all different. I would want to measure this based upon the guys I'm wrestling. Do I feel stronger than them, or do I feel weaker than them when I'm competing against them? I obviously know the heavyweight's going to be stronger than me, okay? And hopefully I'm stronger than the 125 pounder, okay? If not, I got a problem, right? Okay. All right. Next one here. All right, I need to mirror, sorry guys, I'm going to X out my PowerPoint real quick. Marty, I might need some help.
Oh, shoot.
All right, you guys, can you go to the next one now?
Yes.
What's the next one?
What did you do?
Probably should be.
All right, so I think everybody understands in here that wrestles, this is a vital thing to have, right? You can be flexible, okay? You know, you wrestle those guys that are really flexible, it's frustrating, right? It's hard to reach for things, it's hard to finish stuff, especially if you got a tall guy that's flexible, right? It's a giant advantage to be flexible. So if we know that, and we're down here, you know, this is something that you should work on, obviously, okay? Okay, next one. Quickness.
Oh, he was here. I find
But it looks like we're skewing heavily to the left. Now, hopefully that's because we have good athletes in here, okay? But remember, we need to be honest with these evaluations, okay? We need to be honest with these evaluations. Knowledge of the rules.
Oh, I'm pretty good. I'm really
and she's just like,
Where are you going? Okay, we're super knowledgeable. One of our officials in here. Who's one of our officials in here? Let's give them a question to test their knowledge.
In freestyle, fleeing, out of bounds, in danger. What's the correct call? Caution, Maurice? Is that right?
You're in danger.
You're in danger. Caution 2.
Y'all are showing y'all smiles really good right now. Hey, bro. Y'all got a self-assessment. I'll put a 3.
Okay, so we just failed one question, right? Most of you guys had 5s. Okay? So maybe we're not a 5 even though we think we're a 5. Right? You know, Tanner? Okay? Match strategies. Here's a couple things, match strategies. You know, sometimes, you know, and this goes along with knowledge of the rules. You know, folk style, for instance, we're restarting, and you know, on the mat, we're on top. You know, we're trying to get that guy to get another caution, right? Okay, whether that's a little move on their stomach or a little knee in the butt, if we haven't got any cautions, right? We're trying to game the system by knowing the rules and match strategy. Okay? You know, I had an official one time. You know, we used to have this saying all the time in wrestling, and sometimes people still do it. They would say, 1, not 2, right? 1, not 2. Give them the escape, don't give them the reversal, okay? Sometimes I would yell, 2, not 1. 2, not 1. Why would we ever want to give up the reversal instead of the escape?
The guy's good on his feet.
Maybe good on his feet? What if we're toward the end of the match?
You don't get the
If he's winning, like by enough, you might as well not risk it. The guy's.
Not risk getting on our feet?
And if he does cut you, then it's going to be the same point difference anyways.
I thought you're on top.
We're on top.
Yeah, if you let him.
Yeah. There's a couple reasons why we did that. First of all, yep.
You don't like, say you're winning and you're up, there's a short time left, and you're winning by enough. When you let him get a reversal on his escape, there's no chance that he can throw you. I mean, he might as well put you on your back, but there's a better chance he can throw you than put you on your back.
For sure.
Yeah.
First of all, it wastes time, right? It takes more time, okay? Because eventually, if that guy's losing, and their coach realizes, hey, we got to kick him out now. We might have just wasted 10 seconds by him reversing us instead of us pushing away. If he's close to reversing us, we'd be like, all right, go ahead and take it because I'm going to stay down there and I'm going to be in good position. Okay? Or maybe we got to the point where if we kicked him, okay, if we kicked him and now we got a takedown and tied it up, so that 3-point scenario was different, a big deal for us. If he got 2 and then 1 for us, okay, wasted time for us, and the score was in our favor as well. Maintain your weight during the season.
Y'all are just lying to yourself.
Okay, this is a lot different, right? Coaches are probably like, wow, okay? Right, Marty?
Yes.
We're like a wow on this one. We want it to be the other way, okay? We would rather we could work on your flexibility and your strength, because this, for our coaches, is really educational but uncontrollable for what we make you do when you're with us, okay? We can work on your flexibility with you. We can work on your strength with you. You know, we can teach you about this, but this is a lot about you. You've got to take ownership of this stuff. What's that?
Self-discipline.
Self-discipline, for sure. What's your perseverance when things aren't going well? Whether that's in a match or during the season, maybe you're in a slump. How much grit do you have to fight through those things? Having a growth mindset, right? Okay, good. ability to be confident when you need to be. We're always confident when we're confident that we're better than the other person. But what about when that person, you know, they're ranked way higher than you? Because I know you guys look at them, okay, even though we tell you not to. Your nose is growing from that, Joe. A lot of people look at it though, right? And then they talk to you still, right? Yeah.
Like, if I know, like, my dad, and like, he won't tell me their rating, he's gonna be like, just understand that he's literally telling me that you want to tell me their good. So I'll go to the rest of the
So this is good. It's important to be confident, right? You want to be confident going into virtually every situation. Ability to stay relaxed. Again, in a big situation, when the pressure's on. Next one. Your effort to make good choices in everything you do. Leading a championship lifestyle. That's you? You're 4?
I put 2.
2? What do you struggle with?
I just not that smart with stuff. I do pop in the season.
Yeah, it's not good. Yeah, I know, we know it's not good.
I eat like crap. I get a bad attitude.
Okay. So, I'm sure, listen up guys, there's certain areas where you do make better choices than others, right? Even just within wrestling. Some people when they're in practice, they condition real well, but they don't drill hard. Maybe they drill hard, but they don't condition well. Maybe they don't like lifting, so they don't lift hard. They have this crazy idea that if I lift weights, I'm not going to be able to cut weight, okay? All right, I'm trying to cut weight, so I don't want to put muscle mass on it, all right? Okay? But it's everything you do. Okay? I used to tell my wrestlers, if you want to be really good at wrestling, do really well at school. Get great grades. Okay? And just expect yourself to do well at everything you do, to the best of your ability, not gauging yourself against anybody else besides yourself. Okay, with that in mind, effort to get good grades. No, I just feel like I'm really hard. That's good. Hey, I'm a little surprised by that. Okay, that's good. What's your effort on drilling in practice? It's good that they're honest, but I truly believe to get really good at anything, you need to work the hardest at the boring stuff. Okay? To get really good at anything, you've got to work hard at the boring stuff. Okay? The stuff that's most boring to you, which for these people is probably the drilling. Okay? So hopefully we can work on that. Okay, got another effort question. What's your effort when nobody's watching you? With anything?
Wait, I should go harder.
Okay, good. That's a good one. Good to see. What's your effort to make sure you're getting enough sleep? Marty, you want to go out? Okay, so far I think there's two things we're not doing really well that are super, super important. Nutrition, okay? Nutrition and sleep. They're vital to recovery, those two things, okay? Now I understand, you guys recover way faster than I do, okay? There's no argument there. But the key is, if you're one of these people for nutrition and sleep, okay, you can make up for deficiencies then in other areas because you're recovering faster. You can train harder than the next day. Okay? Super, super important. Sleep is gigantic. Okay? Now that doesn't mean on Saturday morning or Sunday morning when you get home, if Dad says, hey, you got mowed the lawn because you've been gone, it's like, oh, Coach said I got to sleep. Sorry. Okay, that's not what we're saying. The harder you train, the more vital your sleep is. Okay? It also doesn't mean you tell your algebra teacher next year, hey, sorry, Coach said I had to sleep. Okay, come get my homework done. Okay?
No, every time I say something, if I was used to anything related to sports, my math teacher's like, education. And I'm like, well,
I know what this one's going to be after the other one. Nutrition on your off days.
It's pretty decent. On Monday. My dad's trying to do that, so I don't really get out much yet. This is my best off day ever.
You guys want to borrow and have some off days Saturday, right? Saturday's going to be an off day. Maybe Sunday too for some of you is an off day. But it's still vital leading up to that tournament you want to peak in. Okay? We just can't have this stuff down here. You know, it's about habits. Okay?
After Fargo, you can school.
How would you rate your video studying ability?
Pretty high. I'm actually using Actually, I'm not really, I don't really watch them. I don't care.
Okay, that's good. Next one.
You guys actually watch videos?
How well do you communicate with your coaches?
Very well.
that's my first spot. Let's go.
Okay, this is good. Next question is going to lead, this one's leading into it. Okay, a little bit different type of question here. What is something you should communicate with your coach about? Try to think out of the box of what everybody else is going to put. Okay, let's see how many different things we can come up with here. What are things you should communicate with your coach about? What you did wrong. Position, mindset.
I was thinking about something
Wait,
similar. My brain goes.
Extra practice. This is practice. What's going to work on?
I was actually thinking something.
Problems. Your struggles. Mindset. I don't know it. Guys, listen, we got to take this serious, okay? All right, let's just ignore it, whoever's the immature person, okay? All right. Okay. I'd like to hear from the coaches, what are things that you think your athletes should communicate with you that they don't, so these guys can hear it?
Academics.
Academics when they're struggling, right?
Yeah, I always tell my kids, I'm like, if the water's up to here, I can help you. If the water's up to here, it's probably too late.
Okay.
You're drowning.
I think that you should definitely communicate like stuff you learn elsewhere.
For sure.
Implementing like stuff that.
Like this camp, right?
Yeah, right.
Everybody else, coaches?
I'd say game planning.
Game planning.
Strategies, like
For
what?
sure. For sure.
Future ambitions.
Okay, guys, listen up. You get good advice from these coaches here. Okay? Future ambitions. Okay? Not just with wrestling, too, right? We want to know other things so we can help lead them along that path. Okay? Anything you want help with. Mike, what's one thing I used to always help my guys with? What would I help them do?
Write a book.
Write a book?
Start a business.
Start a business. Okay? Guys on my team said they want to be a business guy later. All right, let's start it tomorrow. Okay? We'll get your EIN number. We'll get your LLC. I'll pay for it. Let's get rolling right now. Okay? Any other coaches? Ideas? Communication?
I don't see anything up there about their, like, their grades or their academics. Great, it's okay, just small.
But one thing for me, like, I always wanted to know what things are bringing stress to your life. I want to know that, okay? For instance, you know, I want to know if your grandparent passed away. I want to know that, so I understand what you may be struggling through today at practice, okay? People in smaller schools find out, in bigger schools, it's very hard to know all that stuff, okay? You know, I remember one day at school, like, we had, I'm not going to mention any names because I got kids from my school here, but we had some elementary kids in my program. Their mom got taken to jail the night before, and nobody knew it, and there's no dad, okay? The kids were over at a friend's house, the cops showed up, took them out of jail, kids come back home, nobody's there. They get ready for school in the morning, mom's not there, they go to school. Nobody knows, okay? That's an important thing for those kids to communicate with adults in their lives. Okay, scary situation, obviously. How well do you communicate with your drill partner while you're drilling? Okay, not outside.
Like while we're
when
drilling?
the action's taking place.
Oh, hey, what's your question?
We don't talk about the drilling, right?
Yeah, we don't talk while we're drilling. It's very bad for you guys. Very bad. And we're trying to get the reps in, so we don't talk while we're drilling. We're trying to get the reps in.
Okay, we're back with this one. What is something you should communicate with your drill partner? What are things you should communicate with your drill partner about?
I don't know how to spell it, but
That's all right. We're not checking stuff.
Let's go, dude. Mine's staying in the middle. Is that something important? Is that why I keep staying in the middle?
I don't know if it's first or what.
I don't know, but it's pretty cool that I keep staying in the middle.
Coach, the more kids that put the same thing, the bigger the word is.
Oh,
I use this at school.
so a lot of people put technique, copies.
I'll put it first though.
Okay, there's lots of good stuff up there. All right, I'll share the results with you guys later. I'm going to get moving here. It's got some other stuff here. I think that might be our last slide. This stuff. Oh, sorry. How much do you agree with the statement? I seek out the toughest kids in practice to wrestle. That better be high if they're coming here. Okay? That needs to be high. Okay, different situations, but similar. I want to compete against the toughest kids in matches, even if my body is banged up a little bit. Not injured, okay, but I'm banged up, I'm sore, I don't feel good, I got a headache. I still want to wrestle the best guys. Okay? Okay, so I think this is super important mental toughness deal. You know, when I would have a kid come to me and say, Coach, I don't feel real well today, the first thing I would say is, good. Good. You don't feel well today. That's awesome. What a fantastic opportunity today that you have in front of you because you don't feel well. You get to practice not feeling well today. You know, that doesn't happen every day. Most of the days you feel okay, but today you don't feel good because at the end of the year, on day 2 of the district tournament, you may not feel well. And we got to fight through that. We have to practice everything that we do. Now, if you're throwing up, if you have the flu or you have diarrhea, different stuff, obviously. But if we have a little bit of a headache, it's not a migraine, and I just don't feel myself today, I got to fight through that, just like you do in matches. Okay? All right, let's get back to my PowerPoint here.
Right, how do we view our results?
I have no spreadsheet. I'll get to it. Okay. Okay, so I've got some results here now that I'm going to share with you. So these are from one of my past wrestlers of different things that I have them rate themselves on. This is his results. And some of the same stuff that we did, obviously. Okay, so AI needs two things from you if it's going to be useful. Okay? The first thing it has to have is good data. Okay? We've got to be honest with the answers if we're going to self-assess with AI. And the second thing we need are great prompts for the information that we want to get out. Okay? So, this is my prompt, which is a bad one. Analyze this spreadsheet and give me a plan for improving my weaknesses to be the best wrestler I can be. Okay? How do I make that better? Well, I came up with this one. I put that into AI, and I said, make my prompt better to do this. Okay? And it came up with this. Analyze this self-assessment spreadsheet of my wrestling performance, identify my top strengths and weaknesses based on the data, then create a personalized improvement plan focusing on my weakest areas. The plan should include specific daily, weekly, and monthly actions related to training, mindset, nutrition, and recovery that will help me become a more complete wrestler. Man, that sounds good, huh?
That is good.
Okay? All right, so that wrestler, this was their strengths. Match strategy, nutrition, which obviously wasn't many of you. Okay? Effort when nobody's watching, effort to get good grades. Weaknesses, very unflexible. Okay? Good wrestler, he's a state champ, wrestled Division I in college, but not flexible at all. Okay? Stay relaxed. Okay? Mostly because of one of our other young assistant coaches got a little nervous, I think, sometimes, doesn't contribute to that sometimes. He was not very quick. He was terrible at his weight. And he didn't always make the best choices in life. And he got in trouble doing stupid stuff sometimes. Okay? All right, so then he came up with a personal improvement plan. Plan for his flexibility. Okay? Why it matters, what he's supposed to do in the morning, what he's supposed to do in the evening, some apps to use to become more flexible as well. Okay? Staying relaxed. Why it matters. Journaling. We're going to get to that in a minute. Breathing drills. Pre-match routine. Okay? Quickness. Why? Again, all the different things, okay, of what he needed to do to work on that weakness. Weight management. Okay? Tons of stuff here. Decision-making effort. Okay? Why it matters. Steps on that. Okay? We don't need to read through all this. Okay? I'll share this with you guys later. Okay? All right. So, objective 2. We're going to apply AI to analyze journal data in order to optimize athletic performance. Okay, this got a lot of stuff we're going to go through. We're just going to read the highlights because we're running quick time here. We're going to turn daily habits into insights. Okay, we want to spot patterns that we may not notice. Okay, that's why I was doing pivot tables all the time before, because it was too much data for me to look at on a whole season of stuff for my guys. Get personalized feedback. Okay, not for the team, but for each individual kid. Improve consistency. Okay, journaling helps us improve our consistency. It helps us identify performance leaks. Okay, where small changes can have a big impact. We can take ownership of our growth. Journaling on paper can do that as well. All right, so these are items my athletes tracked at first. Okay? It was an okay list. The problem with it, a lot of times, you start tracking data, it's like, man, why didn't I ask this? Why didn't I ask this? And after you start to analyze, it's like, I didn't get enough good information. Okay? So these are things that we track. Okay? Show you the journal stuff that we did, and I'm going to talk to you about it because AI works a little funny with some spreadsheet stuff. Okay, so these are the things over here on the side that we were tracking. Day, time they went to bed, day, morning weight, day, all that stuff, okay? AI does not like this. It's nice for me, but you have to transpose that, okay? A copy, paste, special, transpose. If you don't know how to do it, AI, how do I turn this column data into row data? It'll tell you, okay? So after you make your list, okay, we need to move that stuff into, so it's coming across the top here. So we'd have date this way, then time to bed, morning weight, and all the way across this way. It likes it a lot better when it does the analyzing, okay? All right, so what we did with that then. Let's get back into our presentation. Okay, my prompt. Analyze the spreadsheet. Tell me as much as you can for how Gavin can maximize his performance based on the data, when he should go to bed, when he should get up, what he should eat for each of his meals, how much water he should drink, and anything else you find valuable. Okay? AI prompt. Still continued on the next page because I said make it better. Okay? Analyze this daily journal spreadsheet for data, which includes wake-up time, morning weight, meals, snacks, pre- and post-practice feelings and weight, hydration, and bedtime based on patterns in the data. Provide detailed recommendations to help Gavin maximize his rest and performance. Include specific guidance on optimal sleep schedule, bed and wake time, meal timing, and content. Breakfast, lunch, pre-practice snack, dinner, eating snack. Ideal daily water intake and any patterns affecting energy, weight management, or performance at practice. Highlight any correlations you notice between the habits and the performance. Okay? All right, this is what we found out then. We got hydration insights. This is his average water intake. It has a positive correlation. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, what that number means, R equals 0.43. Okay? And then a recommendation how much water he should take in to maximize when he's feeling the best. Okay? This is correlation here. Okay? This is a positive 0.4. That's a nothing. That's a negative 0.4. Okay? So what that's meaning, more water Gavin was taking in, the better he felt. Okay? 43% is what it means because it's 0.43. 43% of the behavior of Gavin's feeling of the day is directly correlated to how much water he drank. The remaining 57% is due to random chance of the presence of other variables, which we also measured. Okay? So that's a giant amount when we're doing this multivariate analysis. All right, so based on the data, Gavin felt best, what he should have for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. So what are we doing with this then? All right, Gavin's saying at the end of the year, this is what I'm going to do right before my tournaments. This is what I'm going to put in my body, okay? Because this is when I perform the best all season long. Weight trends, okay? Recommendations, sleep recommendations, what time he should go to bed, when he should wake up based upon how he felt all season long by giving the good data. Okay? And this is a summary it gave us at the end as well. Okay? Super, super nice data to have. Okay? You know, we have all these things that we're presenting to you. You know, we're in the wrestling room and you learn a little bit of technique to make this a little bit of difference, right? Coach Hauck went over nutrition. You make this a little bit of difference, right? We went over periodization. You make that same little bit of difference. Over the course of this week, when you take all these little things stacked up on top of each other, now you made a big difference. If you can take little things from everything that we've done for you, okay, that'll make a giant difference for you next year. All right, these are more things that I would have tracked in hindsight afterwards. Okay, mental and mindset and mental readiness. I would have wanted to know stress levels, focus during practice, their motivation level, confidence level. And I would have wanted to put a gratitude or positive thought each day as well. Okay? Recovery and health stuff. How well did you sleep? Not just how much you slept. You know, you guys not a big deal. Us old guys, like, it don't matter if I get 8 hours some days, not like I might get better at 8 hours one day than I did 9 hours the next. Okay? How sore I am. Injuries or pain, I want to put something on there when I have injuries. Stretching or mobility work that we did. Nutrition stuff, if you do any supplements, your protein intake, how much sugar you're putting in your body. Okay? All right. What we have time-wise? I don't know if I'm going to get into the match analysis. We've got about 18 minutes. So, match analysis stuff, I'm going to just go over the highlights. So we're doing a performance analysis. This goes along with your video analysis of yourself and how we can use AI to help us with our video analysis. All right, so match strategies, obviously important, and adjustments. Opponent scouting. Okay, we'll get into a spreadsheet here in a minute and we'll show you how we're going to analyze that with AI then. Training and development from video analysis of your matches. Okay? In-match decision making. Okay? Assist with adjustments is huge. Okay? Identifying when attempting in high pressure situations. Okay? Insight for fatigue-related performance. I think in-match decision-making is gigantic. It's really valuable to me as a coach. Long-term athlete development as well. Tracking progress to measure improvement. Okay? Set goals based on metrics instead of guesswork. Okay? And identifying trains for changes in need of weight class is a big one for us. Okay? All right, so match analysis, what we did. Sorry, we got a quiz coming up for some prizes. Okay. Prizes. Yeah, we got some prizes for you. Oh, I'm sorry.
What AI do you use?
Most of the time, I'm going to use ChatGPT. Okay? Yeah. Got questions? Okay. I'm going to zoom in on this so you can see what I measure when I'm watching video. Okay? All right, so I just made up some names here. I didn't leave our kids' names in here. This is the event, what weight class they were, the date it was, the attempt number in the match. Okay? So we've got attempt number. Who made the attempt? Was it the wrestler or their opponent? What period it was in? I want to know what time it happened in the period. I want to know where on the mat it happened, what the technique was. I want to know whether it was successful or not. Okay? And then any special notes down here as well. Okay? So for instance, we got a half Nelson here, and I made a special note over here that became a full Nelson, but the ref didn't see it. Okay? So that's something I need to talk about with my kid. Okay? So we can take all of this stuff, and there's tons of little things that we can get from this, like maybe you're fantastic wrestling at the edge of the mat. This will give me that analysis. Maybe you're terrible at the edge of the mat. Maybe you're terrible in the first 30 seconds. Okay? Maybe you're bad at the last 30 seconds of a period. And this can let you know what you need to do to fix those weaknesses then. Okay? If you have this data. All right. Let's get to our quiz here real quick. We got a couple of easy questions. I got 2 prizes. We got 2 questions coming up here. Nope. We're going to have to raise our hand before we shout anything out. Okay? Okay, so our prize here is a wrestling victory book. It's autographed as well on the inside. Okay, Olympic gold medalist. Okay, I think Steve gave me a box of these when he was selling these. I got any of you guys that are my guys. If you don't win one of these and you want one, I've probably got 20 more of these guys in my office. Okay. All right, so here's our question. Name the wrestler. A wrestler from the U.S. that won an Olympic gold.
Zane.
Amina Lord. Come on up. Sarah Hildebrand. No, sorry. Sorry, man. Okay, I keep it in there. That won't mess up in your bag, okay? Sarah? Okay, next one. Okay, so these were the 2 possible answers to win that question. We're going to have another question yet. You guys been in the room with Sarah all week. Yeah? Okay, next one.
football?
No.
Steve Frazier.
The guy that wrote the book, Steve Frazier. Okay, last thing, share a quote. And, you know, I similar to the one I did, you coached them at the Women's World Team Trials in Spokane. I did the presentation there, okay? You guys have seen Shark Tank, right? Probably never watched the whole show. Some of you may have if you're into business, okay? Robert said, good salesmen sell features. Great salesmen sell outcomes. Exceptional salesmen sell feelings. Okay? A question?
So, what is like what if you just sold like the features, the outcomes, and was that the best?
The whole point is we want to build connections with people first. Okay? You want to buy stuff from somebody you like, right? Okay? All right, so wrestlers. Good wrestlers know how to wrestle. Great wrestlers know how to win. Exceptional wrestlers are transformational. Okay? Transformational in everything you do. Okay? All right, so if you want any of this stuff later from me, okay? Sorry, I had a little more on that I forgot about. Compete with passion, inspire a team, okay? Lead by example, and they bring energy to the room, and they live a championship lifestyle, okay? This is how you get a hold of me if you need anything. I think this will go to my cell phone and my school email, okay? If you want any of this stuff to utilize and the coaches want it, feel free to let me know, okay? All right.